What is up, guys? Destin Trainer here, back with another video for you guys today. And today you see the title and you see the thumbnail, and today is going to be a pretty serious video. And it's kind of connect to the video I did a couple weeks ago about how Pokemon has ever made a significant change to their franchise. And really today I'm going to be explaining why they need to. And I think that this problem is where the whole controversy with not every single Pokemon being available in the game is coming from. I think because of this problem I'm about to talk today is the number one reason why they can't put every single Pokemon into this game. And so let's start off by going back and reviewing what we've really seen throughout the entirety of this franchise. So, you get a generational game, then you get a remake, and then you get an enhanced version of the two generational games at the beginning, and that's been the whole formula with the mainline games, right? I'm not going to talk about the spin-offs because that's separate, right? I'm talking about in terms of main series, right? That there needs to be significant change here. And the solution for me of the problem I'm about to talk about will come as quite a shock to all of you, maybe. Because maybe you guys didn't think of this before. I don't know if I'm the first one to think of this, but we'll see. Tell me in the comment section below if you guys have ever thought of this before, but so really the problem here is time. That's really what it is. Yes, there are hardware limitations and software limitations with Pokemon here. So, yeah, I get that. And again, there's much more work put into this kind of thing than people realize or really want to give them credit for. Sure. But for me, if these two games, or at least next year or later in the future, right? But let's just say next year, right? At the bare minimum, I would say about over 90% sure that every single Pokemon would be available. Right? Because I say that knowing that as time passes, the more you get equipped with dealing with this console, right? Because as they proceed with the Switch, right, they'll get more comfortable with it and they'll understand how it operates. And they'll be able to make those improvements. So if they would have just held back the release to next year or at the bare minimum, I think we would get better results than what we're about to get, right? I am still super excited for Sword and Shield. I am, because I think they're going to do a lot of good things, but I think that this is still a real big problem because, of course, I want every single Pokemon in the game. I really do. I'm with you guys. I really do, and it's gonna kind of suck not having every single Pokemon. And I believe that it can't be like this going forward. We can't have for good the notion that not every single Pokemon is going to be available for every single game going forward. That would honestly suck, right? I accept it for just being this generation, but if it goes into Generation 9 and then 10 and then further than that, then we're going to have a real problem over our hands. Because that means we're never going to have every single Pokemon available ever again. And this decision was inevitable. But why is it inevitable? Is it because of the hardware limitations? No, it's really because of the scheduling. So, okay, how are you going to change the scheduling to make it more befitting to make these games even more complete? Guys, the Pokemon anime has to end for good. Because the Pokemon anime is the reason, and it's the one thing that's holding the games back. Because it creates a strict schedule and deadline that they have to meet. Because of the anime existing, always needing to begin every single new generation is with the video games, it's making them have to release games yearly. And that's a problem because the Switch is too advanced of a system for them to just be releasing a game every single year now. That's not gonna fly anymore. I get why the anime has lasted this long, with there not really being much of a problem in terms of the way they get out Pokemon games and the whole scheduling, but now it's gonna be a problem. Because as soon as they're not able to put every single Pokemon in the game, that is what's gonna make this a problem. And we've arrived to it. Now it's a problem. Scheduling wasn't really much of a problem before. It would have been nice to have before, but I get that it wasn't really dire. But now it is. And look, the anime has really dipped in the ratings anyways ever since Black and White. It's just a fact. They've just dipped. The ratings have actually gone down ever since Gen 5. Right? If you look at the ratings from Generation 5 on and compare it to Generations 1 through 4, the ratings are just lower. And there are a myriad of factors for that, but the biggest one is because the scheduling changes. Not everyone can access the anime anymore based off of the day that they changed it to. Right? They've picked a less popular day to air it compared to what it was before. So that's really the biggest reason for it. And number two, I just think it's dipped in quality in general, honestly. I mean, X and Y was fantastic, but it was rushed. It was the most rushed anime series that we've gotten, honestly. It was really rushed. And even Black and White was rushed too, because if you guys remember, there was supposed to be a whole entire arc that featured a war between Team Plasma and Team Rocket, right? And you guys know the reasons for why that was cut, right? So I'm not going to get into it. But that would have been really cool, and I think Black and White would be appreciated more if they had kept that arc, in my opinion. Because I think that arc would have done wonders for it. Because we haven't really seen a war between two evil organizations. I guess it was kind of like that with Team Magma and Team Aqua, but even then it wasn't really much of a war other than them just trying to push their ideals on one another, right? Because Maxie and Archie kind of had the same crazy plans, just different ways of going about it. So they were more like little scraps and little disagreements rather than an actual war, right? It wasn't a full-fledged war where Team Magma and Team Aqua were just going at it, right? They were just getting each other's way every now and then. That's really all it was. Kind of like how Team Skull just tried to get in your way during your island challenge, right? They weren't really looking for any kind of war domination, right? They were just trying to mess up people's island challenge, right? So that would have been really interesting, because it would have been something that they hadn't done before. So that sucks that we didn't get that in Black and White. So really, what's gone on is, it really has dipped in quality, honestly. It's not as good as it was before. Right? So Black and White was a poorly written series. X and Y was written really well, but it was rushed. And Sun and Moon is back to pretty poor writing for the most part. It has its moments, and there's some wonderfully written aspects of Sun and Moon. But altogether, would you say that Sun and Moon's a wonderfully written series? I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. I don't know how you can say Sun and Moon has been overall a well-written series. It really hasn't. Some aspects. But just because you have your moments, it doesn't mean you're a great series. So I feel like we can deal without it. And I do enjoy anime. I always have. Even now, I still enjoy some episodes of Sun and Moon, but not a lot of them. Right, so I still enjoy it pretty well, but I don't think I've enjoyed it nearly as much as I did before. It just seems more unnecessary to me. And the thing is, the anime doesn't make any significant change. It's Ash all the time, and Pikachu too. He stays the same fucking age, just like everyone else, right? So no one ever ages in the Pokemon anime. So what's the point? And they don't really change the story whatsoever. It's still okay. Ash goes through the region, has to deal with the main mechanic to get to the Pokemon League. He loses it. Right? The anime does the exact same thing that it does before, just changes the way it presents itself, just like the video games. So if you take out the anime, the games won't have to do that anymore either, right? Because now they'll have multiple years to be able to actually focus and make the game a higher quality. The anime, to me, is the right price to pay if we're going to get exceptional video games. Because imagine if a new Pokemon game, in terms of the console games, was released every few years. Think about how much higher quality these games would be. These games would probably be arguably the best of all time if they did it that way. Right? Pokemon has so much potential, like I've said in other videos. Like, you guys need to realize how much potential this franchise actually has. This may be a simple structure that this franchise has, but there's a lot of complexities actually when it comes down to the metagame and the main story. Right, Pokemon is a more complex franchise than maybe we give it credit for. It has simple concepts, but in reality, all these simple concepts are actually very complex in terms of how they execute them. Right? So they're simple concepts, but the execution is very complex. Right? So there's so much potential. So if we got a game every few years, just think about how much higher the quality would be. And we would have every single Pokemon available, because the longer they take to release other games, the higher the quality they would get, because they would be able to put more time and energy. And there are so many other things that will replace the anime's revenue. Mobile games, think about how they've risen and how much profits they're generating, right? Mobile games will probably eventually reach to like half of their share, right? Because think about it, Pokemon Go alone makes 5%, right? And if Pokemon Go keeps going in the upward trajectory that it's going, Pokemon Go is probably gonna eventually reach 20% of the whole entire revenue. So Pokemon Go alone is going to continue to increase and be a huge part. And that's just one mobile game. Think about how much other mobile games they're going to be able to make. Because remember, they're much faster to make than console games. They take much less money to put in. Right? Overall, mobile games are just more efficient to produce than console games, right? So that will easily be able to replace the anime. Also, let's see. Also, the TCG will still be there. I don't know how successful it is, because I don't play it, but if anyone could tell me in the comment section below, that would be very helpful. They'll still have that. There's just so many other alternatives that they could use. The anime is unnecessary. It's not needed anymore. Before, yeah. But is anyone really going to tell me that they're going to really miss the anime? I mean, sure, they'll miss it. But will it be to the point where they won't recognize the franchise anymore? No. And I get that Ash and Pikachu have become icons. I understand that, but if he never really changes anyways, what's the point? I just don't see the point in the anime anymore, because it's the same shit over and over again. There's no point to it. So, they need to make this change. It's time for this franchise to make a significant change. They have to. And getting rid of things is never easy, right? Because they're going to have to change the way that they approach. But it's time for that. It really is. If this franchise continues going on the same path that they are, it's going to start to stagnate. And then it's going to get stale and boring. That's where they're headed right now. So, as excited that I am about Generation 8, it could be so much more. So, those are my thoughts about this. But again, like I said before, comment down below how your thoughts and feelings towards this subject, because I know that this is not very easy to talk about. It's not. This was a very hard video for me to make, because as much as I think that the anime is unnecessary at this point, it still would be sad to see it go, because it does have a certain charm to it. It's always had it, but it's a necessary decision. For franchises to grow, they're gonna have to make tough decisions. They're bound to. And obviously cutting Pokemon was a very tough decision for them. It was. They didn't want to do it, but they made that decision. So if they can make that tough decision, they should be able to make this one. But that's just my 2 cents on it. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Click on the notifications bell to get every video I make right away. Have a great day, guys. Peace. I'm Destin Trainer, signing off now.